Hello, people. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I see that we already have Rajat on the chat, ready to go. People, welcome. All right, let's talk about this. All right, we're going to talk about Ten Hag is already under pressure, right? Ten Hag is already under pressure, guys. 3 games in, and Ten Hag is in the hot seat, right? So, listen, first of all, welcome everybody. Smash the like as you're coming in. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button so you can support the channel. I appreciate you all being here. What's going on, Gabby? What's Thank you so much for joining, Gabby. What's up? Smash the like, people, as you're coming in, and hit that follow if you haven't done so. All right, guys, listen. Let's talk about this. All right, Manchester United season is off to a disastrous start, right? But uh, guess what? The club's top brass are doubling down on Erik Ten Hag, right? The big question is now is this, right? How long will the faith in Ten Hag last? And could we see Thomas Tuchel waiting in the wings? Listen, we're going to talk about it. But the news is, of course, after that big loss against Liverpool, that drubbing, that disastrous show of performance that we did at home, yeah, everybody's talking about it. You know, we knew this was going to happen. We knew that Ten Hag is in walking in a very thin, tight rope. We knew that he had to make drastic decisions. We knew that. Listen, a loss at home in front of the home crowd against our arch rivals Liverpool will be disastrous. We knew that, and Ten Hag knew that, right? Sammy, what's going on? Welcome. Right? We knew it was going to be disastrous for us to lose at home. And yeah, listen, we lost comfortably, right? We were humiliated by Liverpool, right? 3-0. So, of course, the aftermath is that we knew that, first of all, Ten Hag, by him retaining his job, a lot of people out there was a huge portion of this fan base, they wanted Ten Hag gone, right? They wanted Ten Hag fired, right? From what we happened last season, finishing eighth, blah, 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 blah. But, of course, he won the FA Cup. Ineos, they did the review, and they decided, you know what? Let's stick with Ten Hag. Let's stick with him and provide him with the resources that he needs, and we'll see what's going to happen. People, welcome, Phoenix. Welcome, everybody. Smash a like as you're coming in. Thank you so much for being here, right? So they decided to keep him. But now, of course, we had back-to-back losses against Brighton and now against Liverpool. So everybody, those people who already had their knives sharpened, they were ready for Ten Hag to mess up. They were, there's a lot of haters out there, right? There's a lot of haters who just want to see Manchester United fail. From the pundits, from the haters, from the other side of the fan base, like the Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea. Everybody does not like Manchester United. So whenever we are failing, people are like, yes, this is what we want to see, man. We saw, I don't know if you guys remember, last season, Ten Hag was being interviewed by some reporter. They were like, yeah, man, we like it when you guys are, you guys, Manchester United, are when you're not doing good, right? Obviously, it keeps them in the business, because each and everything that gets written about Manchester United, it gets clicked on, right? It's one of those, if you want to clickbait, and we see a lot of these pundits, what they do is whatever they write their little reports here and there, and then they throw in Manchester United name on there because they know everybody's going to read about it. We are the biggest club in the world, man, right? So basically, they want us to fail. If we're winning, we're succeeding. They don't like that because they won't have any juicy bad stuff to say about us. So they want us to fail. So they were ready, man. They had this stuff, these reports ready to go for Ten Hag, waiting for him to fail. The first game against Fulham, he won. They thought he was gonna lose, but he won. So it kind of messed it up for them, right? Right. So basically, people smash a like, hit that follow, share the stream if you don't mind. Thank you so much, people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right. So basically, we kind of ruined it on the Fulham game, but of course, they had something to write. In the Brighton game, they had something to write. Now with the Liverpool game. So, like today, and now we're on international break. Listen, news is just flowing. Everybody's coming after this guy. Again, it's warranted because at the end of the day, right? The buck stops at the manager, right? He's the one who picks the players. He's the one who come up with the style of play, and basically that's what it is. And yeah, we failed in the last two games, especially the Liverpool game. It was disastrous, right? So of course we get attacks, but it was good to see for once, right? For once, I was delighted to see. Um, I was delighted to see that for once we see we see that Ten Hag is getting backing from the hierarchy, right? Last season we didn't really see that because he was kind of rolling by himself the whole time. He's just like by himself, maneuvering the mess from last season until he won the FA Cup. He was just by himself. Now it was good to see that we see Barada, we see Ashworth. These reports coming out today saying, "Wait, we back this guy," right? So basically, the report that I'm checking out here, basically they're saying, listen, um, it's good to see that despite the loss, Erik Ten Hag has the full backing of Manchester United new leadership team. Omar Barada, the club's chief executive, and sporting director Dan Ashworth have both publicly publicly supported Ten Hag, insisting that he is the right man for the job, right? But he is the kicker, right? This support comes just after Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos reportedly considered other top managers like Thomas Tuchel and Robert De Zerbi and the others, right, over the summer. So, what does that really say about the club's faith in Ten Hag, right? So, we know that they spoke about to all these other managers. Obviously, they're doing the review, they're doing the due diligence, which is understandable. But again, if they were talking to all these other managers, yeah, I don't know, right? They could be feeling like, okay, and we saw a lot of reports that actually Thomas Tuchel, when it comes to that review process they were doing, he was one of the top candidates to replace Ten Hag. So again, I don't know what happened. They didn't agree on the fee or something like that. So that didn't happen. They decided to stick with Ten Hag. But now, the minute that we see things are not going right, boom, Tuchel name is right up there. But again, another thing is this, right? Imagine, like teams like Brighton. When it comes to teams that I know where I can see, and I know you guys can see, you're football people, you watch football. Brighton is one of those teams that if there's a model to follow on how an organization should run a team, it's like Brighton. They always have a backup plan, right? They have a backup plan in case this manager doesn't work. They already have another manager ready to go on their short list. Boom. We saw Deserbi left. The new guy came in. They continue like as if they didn't miss a beat, right? So that is good. The same thing even with the players. Brighton, whenever they sell players, there's always another player coming on the back end ready to roll, right? So to me, hearing this talk about Thomas Tuchel and everything like that, it shouldn't really bother us too much. It's just now we have footballing people. They're planning ahead, right? Because God forbid we get to a point. Ten Hag says, you know what, man, I've had it with the United fans. I've had it with this job. I'm out of here. Then you are sitting there. Oh, what we're gonna do? So basically, it's good to have a succession plan, right? A succession plan to be like, okay, in case anything happens, we have someone ready to go who can take over. Now, people could say, okay, that person ready to go could be Rude Van Nistelrooy, right? Because he's there. But again, Van Nistelrooy could be like a temporary fix, and then maybe they're thinking of Tuchel could be the permanent fix down the road. Who knows, right? But it could be that they're doing that. That way, they're ready to go. They have someone lined up, right? And it's not like they don't trust Ten Hag. They came out backing him. They're backing him, but they just they're being ready, right? So I understand it. I'm cool with it. I'm not really worried. I know a lot of people were like, okay, is it time to pull the plug on Ten Hag? First of all, listen, Ineos and the whole team, they're not going to do that, right? They spent over close to 200 million to bring in the Lit, Mazraoui, Ugarte, Lenny Yoro, who else? Xerxes, so they backed Ten Hag. So they put all this money in getting Ten Hag the players that can work in Ten Hag system. They're not gonna like get him these players. And also this past summer we saw they did that strategic review, and then they do the review for, you remember how long it took forever, that review, right? So they do the review, and then they say, you know what, Ten Hag, they went to Ibiza to Ali Ten Hag, they knocked on his door. Mr. Ten Hag, listen, we did our review, we were talking to other managers, but you are the right guy for us, right? So doing that, and they decide to stick with Ten Hag, and then they trigger the extended 1 year on Ten Hag's contract, and then what? They fire him, they sack him on the third game, right? So it's really it doesn't make sense to me. Prince Lenny, what's going on? Thank you so much for being here. I think they brought Van Nistelrooy to replace him. Well, Prince Lenny, I mean, it could be. That's what I was thinking. In back of my head, that's what I'm thinking as a backup plan. Basically, with having the like of Van Nistelrooy there, for example, you are having a coach ready-made, right, in his own right. Van Nistelrooy is a good coach in his own right. And then you're having a coach that already works with these players, right? So he knows all the players there. And also, he has had time, understanding what these players can offer and all this stuff. That way, even if Van Nistelrooy was to take over, for example, he can continue with those players because he already knows the players. He can work with the players. If you bring in, for example, in the past, right, when we sacked Louis van Gaal, when we sacked Mourinho, we sacked Solskjaer, the next manager that came in, they demanded their players, because all these managers, they were coming in with a different style of play, right? So Ineos now, what they're trying to do, obviously, is to, they already came up with the style of play and the players that can work in that style. And they already have, if that was the plan, they already have Van Nistelrooy there who has already worked with these players. So it will be smooth transition if Ten Hag was to let go, right? So it makes sense. It makes sense. But also, guys, we got to think about this way, right? Even if, for example, we want Van Nistelrooy to take over, how long would this fan base give Van Nistelrooy a chance to implement his style of play and all this stuff? Because for us fans, we're very impatient, right? We want those instant wins and stuff like that. How soon are we gonna start hearing? Well, whenever we don't see like wins coming back and forth. Next thing we're gonna hear, oh, Rude out, Rude out. Come on, man, he's our legend, right? I would hate to see that we were, the fans already, turning on Ruud van Nistelrooy because things didn't work out. So everything is very tricky. And Ineos, they obviously they have a plan. They have a plan in place. If it's Van Nistelrooy to take over, well and good, blah blah blah. But I'm sure they're gonna give Ten Hag time to bet in his players, right? The game against Liverpool, okay. A lot of people are like, well, what is it? What's the Liverpool manager? What's his name? Slot. Slot came in, and they're already playing a really good style of football. Listen, people don't. Well, they got to think about it this way. Arne Slot inherited a team that last season with what's his name? Liverpool were going for the quadruple, right? So this team was already good enough to go for quadruple. Yes, they failed, okay, and they replaced the manager. But the team already, they've been playing together for a number of years, right? Most of those players, they haven't brought anybody new in, right? And they already have a style of play from the ground level, right? And so basically, Slot came in. They brought in a coach that can kind of mimic the style of play that's already there at Liverpool. So he came in, he changed a few things here and there, but the style of play was already there. The players already know what they need to do, change a few things here and there. Of course, they're going to play better than us. Ten Hag, on the other hand, he has a whole bunch of new players coming in. He's rebuilding that team, right? He's trying to come up with the style of play. We got to give him time, right? These things take time. It's not like, it's going to be a miracle. That's why I was laughing at Ted Hag when he said, listen, man, I'm not Harry Potter, right? He cannot just with the wand and then boom, the team is playing perfect football. Now, yes, people say, well, it's been like 3 years. We should see something. True. But in that time, in that time, he really didn't have his players, blah blah blah. But now he's backed, right? He was given the players that he wants, right? The players who quote unquote can play his style. So honestly, right now for Ten Hag, I am backing Ten Hag, but he has nowhere to hide. Right now, Ten Hag, the pressure is on him because. Like in the past, we say, okay, we're injuries, blah blah blah. I cannot play Ajax style because I don't have my players. He was given that, right? So now what Ineos I'm thinking they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, we got you these players. We knew that the big issue in Manchester United was all these other managers that were there, like Mourinho, Van Gaal, Solskjaer. What was happening with them is they did not have that support structure above them, right? So what Ineos did, they built that support structure. They supported Ten Hag during this transfer window by getting rid of players, bringing in the players that he wants. So basically now they're like, okay, so we brought in these new players. Okay, we're gonna give Ten Hag time, maybe until December, right, to see what he's gonna do with all these players. Because of course we have Ugarte that just came in. He hasn't really played much football. So and then we have a few injuries. Luke Shaw, Hoyland, Euro. What they're gonna do is Ineos. They're gonna let Ten Hag get his players back, get the new players bedded in to the team, right? And they see what is going to happen. Like if they're going to see a change, because now Ten Hag really, we know already he doesn't have anywhere to run, but he's going to say, Ineos is going to say, listen, man, we gave you time. We gave you time to work with these players. We gave you time to implement what you need to implement, you know? So basically, he's on board time, but Ineos, they're not going to be, they're not going to pull the trigger quickly and, sack Ten Hag now like most people want to see happening. So it's not going to happen. They're going to give him time, maybe until December. Hopefully things change, right? Things change. But of course, for us fans, we really want to see something because we listen. The next game is coming up here after the international window. It's the games that they're definitely winnable games. They're like 4 games winnable. So ideally, Ten Hag needs to win all those games. But again, if he continue losing, then listen. I don't know. Like I don't know. I know you guys saw the pictures of at the game day before yesterday. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the entire United hierarchy. You saw Sir Jim Ratcliffe, his head was down, like he feels embarrassed, man. He's like, listen, what did we do here? Did we make a mistake keeping this guy? Right? Right? So, but again, it's one of those things like you're like, listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, man. You got to give this man a chance to implement. Again, he has to win games, right? So, one thing I can say with Ten Hag is um, I'm happy that he got this backing from the Barada and Ashworth telling him like, listen, you are our guy and all this stuff. This is good. I kind of shuts down some of this press a little bit because they were going after him. But also he also knows that his clock is ticking, right? His clock is ticking. This international break, he has a lot of work to do. Hopefully the players that are left for international break, all of them come back not injured. That way he can work with these players and see if they can implement a style of play. We saw some good things like in the Liverpool game in the first 15 minutes. We played well, right? But again, the same mistakes showed up again, right? The space in the midfield, right? The sooner we make one mistake and we lose the ball, we get countered on, and then we're in trouble, right? So it's one of those things that like a team with a good structure, that should not really happen. Like, okay, mistakes can happen, but we should have a structure where, okay, if we lose the ball here, fullbacks can drop in and Kobe Mainu can drop in to support Casemiro. But the way we're playing is Ten Hag likes to have his fullbacks, like as soon as we have the ball, we're advancing the ball to the fullbacks to bomb forward quickly to get up top, try to to counter and to possess the ball on the opposite end. But what we saw the other day is when we lose the ball and it's only Casemiro there and the two center defenders, we can get countered on and we're in trouble. So Ten Hag has to work the system, try to figure out, okay, why are we so open? We need to close that space in that midfield. Now, of course, we know Casemiro's legs are gone. So ideally, you'd want to pair him with someone who has more legs, i.e., Ugarte, right? So I would say, you know what? In the last couple of games, we saw Kobe Mainu was looked kind of sluggish. He doesn't look very up to speed. Now it could be that with Kobe Mainu, he really didn't have much rest, right? After the summer he played a whole bunch of games. He went to the Euros, so you can see that he's kind of tired, right? Or he doesn't look himself. So I would say maybe in the next game coming up to shore up that midfield, Ten Hag, I'll say, listen, Ugarte, I know Ugarte is going to come back. You're going to say, oh, he doesn't have much football, right? And we know Casemiro's legs are getting there. So I would partner Casemiro with Ugarte, right? Ugarte's legs can help cover that space. Casemiro, maybe you push him a little bit up because Casemiro can play an eight, right? That way he doesn't have to do much defending, right? But those two can complement each other, Ugarte and Casemiro, to cover that space in the midfield where we saw that it gets open, like we get opened up too quickly. So Ugarte can give us those legs. Now, I'm hoping that when he comes back from the international break, Ugarte is not injured and he can be thrown right in, just like the way Ten Hag threw Mazraoui into the game straight up after having a couple of sessions of training. He said, "Listen, get in there, do the job." I would throw in Ugarte, man, because Ten Hag cannot afford to lose the next game. He cannot afford to do that. So I would say play it safe and play both of them, Ugarte and Casemiro, and then you allow Bruno to play more advanced, right? And then once he plays more advanced in that number 10 role, then you kind of have that midfield stability. So you don't really worry too much of getting uh, those spaces being too open in that midfield, right? So that can help. They can help us because listen, games are lost and won in the midfield. We know that, right? You all know that games are lost and won in midfield. You control the midfield, you have a good chance of winning the match, right? In all the games that we've seen, guys, we haven't been able to control the midfield, controlling the game. We haven't been able to do that. And it's really frustrating for us, right? Watching this game, we're like, man, like each time you're watching, you're like, listen, oh my God, it's only going to take one mistake, boom, and then next thing we get counted on, and then next thing with Onana in the back, Onana is not a De Gea kind of things. Listen, I like Onana, man, but he hasn't really been able to stop any goals. All right. Um, so thoughts on running three at the back, and so you're saying three at the back, and then you have what? You have Mazraoui and Delo as right wing backs. I don't think Ten Hag is going to do that, man. I don't think Ten Hag is going to do that. Um, I mean, it will be interesting, but I don't think Ten Hag is going to do it. Maybe with Lenny Yoro when he comes back, he may do something like that. But that will really, it will be changing his entire style of play, right? So I don't see Ten Hag making that drastic changes. I would think that he needs to fix that midfield, lock it down, right? Lock it down, and middle of the list, and yeah. Um, so yeah. So Keenan, I mean, what's going on, Keenan? Welcome, welcome. Listen, from what I see is after the international break, we should expect Luke Shaw to come back, Rasmus Højlund, which we did see training on grass, and then who else should be coming back after the international break? So I know Luke Shaw and Terrell Malacia. I don't think he will be ready. So yeah, I think it's going to be Luke Shaw and Rasmus. We should expect him to be back, and of course by then Ugarte, he will be uh, maybe he will be ready to go to play some minutes. Ten Hag on his last press conference, he was like, "Listen, with the new players coming in, Ugarte will need time to get bedded in and all this stuff. In my head, I was like, listen, Ten Hag, right now you're in a do or die situation, right? You need to win games because these people want you out of here. Okay, and a few more losses, it is gonna be disastrous. So, you know, throw in Manuel Ugarte as Manuel Ugarte joins in. What's going on, Manuel Ugarte? Welcome, welcome. Um, so yeah, guys, Manuel Ugarte is on the chat. If I'm this is the real Manuel Ugarte right here in the chat, right? So, hopefully he gets those players back. Once he gets them back, like Luke Shaw, maybe we'll have. Yeah, again, I don't trust Luke Shaw, man. He can be back, and then next thing, with a couple of games, he's injured again. So I don't trust him. Now, one thing I can say is like, listen, the backing that Ten Hag got from the leadership team was good to see. Right, it was good to see that he's being backed, and I'm sure even for him with the pressure that he was getting, he felt better. But again, that interview, guys, by the way, that backing that they did, it was an interview before the Liverpool game. So they did that interview, and then they all went to watch the Liverpool game, and then we got slashed. Come on. So now, these Barada, Ashworth, they're like, man, of course, we still back the guy, but they didn't expect that, the game to go like that, right? Uh, Kamucha, tell him I'm tired of losing, dude. Kanbuo, sorry if I'm messing up your name, dude. I am tired of losing too, man. I am tired of losing because each time, man. Because listen, when we lose, it messes up your whole day. Like the whole day gets messed up. I didn't listen when we lose. I didn't watch this game live, right? I don't know if you guys saw. I had a baptism to go to for one of my little niece. So I was there, of course, at church and all this stuff. At the back of my head, I'm at church. I'm thinking of the game. God, please let us, don't get slashed, please. And then afterwards, I checked the score. I'm like, what? This is crazy, right? But hey, it is what it is. We really need to, be done with the losing matches, right? So let's see. We wait all week. I know, Damo. I know we wait the whole week, right, to watch our team, and sometimes it's just unfortunate. I know, it is unfortunate, and it is tough, man. It is tough because, like, on the whole week you're sitting there. Okay, maybe we're gonna see our team cook. We're gonna see our team have control, and then we start watching them. It's like, man, nothing, right? And another point is some people are like, we were talking about, we're like, okay, so we're thinking, okay, if Ten Hag, for example, gets sacked and then Van Nistelrooy takes over, for example, people are like, well, isn't Van Nistelrooy part of this coaching structure? What else is he going to do different, right? Right? So it's one of those. It's tricky. Mano Ugarte is saying when we lose against every sucks, but when we beat City in the final, they forget. Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, I'm telling you, these pundits, these haters out there, they want us to lose. They hate Manchester United. They hate us, right? And if we do good, they won't have anything to write, right? Because some of the scrutiny that Ten Hag gets, no other manager gets, like the way he everything gets piled on us. Every little thing about Manchester United, all these pundits, because they know you put Man United name on there, everybody's gonna click, everybody's gonna read about it, right? So that's what they do. They already have their talking points ready. Like in that Fulham game, they thought we were gonna lose, so we kind of ruined it for them. But hey, Ten Hag made it up for them in that Brighton game and now the Liverpool game. So now they're coming at us, right? They're coming at us. But listen, Ten Hag has to control the narrative, right? He has to control the narrative by not losing, right? Not losing. And if you don't lose, then these people won't have much to say, right? They won't have much to say. And now, like even in the press conferences, I don't know if you guys saw, these reporters are like, they're going after him, questioning him, his tactics and all this stuff. Those questions are warranted, but Ten Hag really doesn't have any leg to stand on because he's the one who puts the team out there. He is the one who puts the team structure out, and we suck at it, right? Um, and yeah, let's see here. I see you were saying about uh, provided they both healthy. Yeah, Keenan says provided they both healthy, Rasmus and Xerxes. Um, you know what? I'll start. To me, I think that the Keenan's question there was like, who would you start, guys? If both are healthy, Xerxes or Rasmus? I think I'll stick with Rasmus, man. Number 9. I'll stick with Rasmus. They're different profile of strikers, right? Xerxes can play more the false 9 kind of thing. I think Hoyland can be more of a target man, that kind of situation. Again, they're both young, and we have to give him time to develop, and we have to give Ruud Van Nistelrooy time to work on them, right? To get them to that level where they can start firing in all cylinders. When it comes to, for example, like Rashford has been disappointing, man. Like he's not Rashford. Like he doesn't look right. Like Rashford looks like he doubts himself. He doesn't take on players like that. No, I think he didn't have shots on target. Maybe two shots on target in the last 2 games or something like that. Some crazy stat. I forgot it. Right. So again, Rashford should have been benched, right? And Ten Hag's again his tactics. You start Rashford and you bench our player of the month in Ahmad, right? Ahmad, yes, the Brighton game, he was supposed to be substituted and then he scored that goal. I would have still started Ahmad and Garnacho, even though Garnacho also didn't do much in the game. But still, Rashford deserves to be benched, right? But my man, Ten Hag, he starts him. It's one of those things. I don't know if it's written in Rashford's contract that he has to start each and every game, or it's one of those that it could be that the need for Rashford to start firing is so high in the United hierarchy, Ten Hag and everybody. That's why they start him in all these games, hoping he will get he'll hit form and start scoring. Right? Probably they feel okay if we leave him on the bench, then it's gonna slow down his I don't know his progression if there was any in Rashford. But ideally, Rashford should have been benched, man. He shouldn't have not started. But I don't know why Ten Hag keeps on starting this guy. And if he continues being stubborn and starting Rashford, not starting. I'm glad last game he started the lid. I'm glad he had the cojones to bench to take out Casemiro in that game because that took a lot of guts, honestly, right? Because Casemiro is a big name, man. He took him out. That took guts, but he has to make big decisions like that before the game. Set the team right. Bench Rashford. Play your best players. That way, you give yourself chance to get something right. Um, let's see that Demo. I wish United posted more training footage. Yes, I like what they're doing now with this new Ineos team. They're posting more training videos. We get to see the players. We get to see behind the scenes. I like that, and I also like guys. Listen, I'm sure we were never communicated to in the past regime like um, the Woodwards and stuff like the way Berada, Ineos they're doing, Berada, Ashworth, the way they're doing is they're talking to us, telling us what is going on. And like Berada, they were talking about, listen, we're trying to build a team here that is not only going to win, okay, the Premier League and be done. They're trying to build a team that can consistently win titles, right? Not just, you have a team, you just win and then you fall off, right? So, and they're saying like, listen, Barada and them, they're saying, listen, to do that, it will take time. And they're happy with the signings they've done this season, this transfer window, because those players, they have, they're young, all under 26, I believe. So all these players, they have time to grow with the team, to continue building, and then they can maybe make an actual team that can play a certain style football and consistently win, right? Trophies, right? And that's what they're trying to do. People smash the like as you coming in. And listen, share the stream if you don't mind, right? So I like this what Berada said here. He said obviously they believe in Ten Hag. It says, listen, um, when he was asked, do we still trust Erik? He says, absolutely. We think Erik is the right coach for us, and we are fully backing him. We're going to continue working very closely to help him get the best results out of the team, right? So, again, that's something Erik Ten Hag didn't have, but Ten Hag has to reciprocate, right? If these people, they're telling you, they're backing you, they're giving you support, Ten Hag, you have to win, buddy. Like, listen, they also their reputation is on the line as well, because they're like, okay, we chose this guy, we said this is our guy, and if he's not delivering, it's not looking good. They're gonna pull the plug on Ten Hag, right? But of course, it's not gonna be anytime soon, the way I see it, right? I think they will keep him until maybe until December. That way they can say to the fans, listen, guys, we decided to keep him. We also gave him time for his players to come in and do what they're supposed to do. And, and now by December, things are not changing. Then they can say, okay, we're going to cut him, which would make sense. I'll be okay with that. Right. But of course, not in the third game. Yes, we didn't start well. They're not going to do that. I know there are people out there who are ready for him to be sacked, and it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. So people were thinking, and when the transfer window was going on, were like, hey, what's the deal with Mano Ugarte? Not Mano Ugarte, I mean Rabiot, right? Apparently, United rejected to a chance to sign free agent Adrian Rabiot this summer. This is according to Fabrizio Romano. The midfielder had been strongly linked with a move to the Premier League after seeing his Juventus contract expire. The clubs can still sign him post deadline day because he's a free agent. Basically, it looks like he may end up maybe going to the Saudi Pro League. But again, I'm glad we didn't go for Rabiot. Yes, could we have used Rabiot? Maybe in that midfield. But his wages was one, and he really doesn't fit the kind of the structure that Ineos they're trying to build, right? Benji, what's going on? United chased Ugarte all summer and only got him at the end of the window. Embarrassing recruitment. Well, Benji, listen, they had to listen. I know they chased him the whole until the end of the summer, and also this was the priority departments in the team, right? So ideally, they should have gone and got him ASAP. But again, they had to nickel and dime, man. They had to make sure some money, goes out in money comes in, for example, but a player had to leave in McTominay. And McTominay, the Barada was saying on his recent interview, they're not going to push players out, right? The players who left, Scott McTominay, even Jadon Sancho, they wanted to leave, right? And so basically, McTominay agreed to leave, and he wanted to leave. And of course, with him leaving, pure profit money came in. We used that money to bring in Ugarte. That's why this thing dragged on until very late. But again, hopefully he's here now. Hopefully he's going to be able to join the team here soon when he comes back. But again, I don't think he's going to be our savior. Okay, he's going to do certain things, but it's the system. The system Ten Hag has to fix it, right? Because even if you have Ugarte by himself there, he could also make a mistake and get overrun, and then we get counted on, and then we're in trouble again. So the system is a system issue that Ten Hag has to look at in that midfield. How can he shape us to play better? That way, one mistake does not equal a goal on us, right? And especially in that midfield, right? Because most of our goals, was mistakes in the midfield and also in the defense as well. In the Brighton game, right? They cost us a game. So those kind of things, they need to be ironed out. They need to be, basically get rid of, right? Also, I'm seeing a report here that apparently Ten Hag he presented the point that he wanted to bring back Amrabat, but the high ups, the Dan Ashworth, Barada, they told him, nah, we don't want Amrabat back. So again, it's good that they communicate. Basically, in the past, it could have been like, listen, if Ten Hag wanted a player, he would have got it. But now he has to kind of do that back and forth with the team and come up with the agreement. Okay, we should go for this player. They all agree, right? Which is good because that way we know, okay, Ten Hag doesn't have pure 100% say, I want this player, then he has to get that player. I believe that's how it was before Ineos team came on board, right? He had a kind of one of the final say on players coming in. So I like the fact that, okay, even though Ten Hag wanted Amrabat, they were like, no, we're not going to get him for you. So it's good. I like that. I like Ten Hag being told no because he's not going to work in our system. No, he's not the correct profile of player that we need to bring in. It's not the player that we see in the long run, right? Because if you bring in the likes of Amrabat, he's not going to be around for, I don't know, the next 5 years. Maybe they're trying to bring in players that can be there in the next 5 years, for example, because they're building something, right? So it's good. I like that. That was the case, right? So we shall see. And then this whole I talked about this whole Thomas Tuchel link to Manchester United thing. To me, I like the idea, but I like the idea because what they're doing is Ineos, then they're trying to come up with a succession plan in case it happens. You have someone ready to go, you can bring in. I don't like Thomas Tuchel, honestly. To me, he does not excite me at all. Right? I would, if anything, I would rather keep Van Nistelrooy to take over the job and move on. Thomas Tuchel, I don't know, man. I, I don't like that idea of him. But he's up there in the list, and from based on the reports that we saw when they were doing that strategic review, we saw that Thomas Tuchel was one of the names that could have been very close to take over the job, but I think they didn't agree on fee or something like that, so it didn't work out. So hey, I'm glad that they have a plan, and hopefully, if they keep Ten Hag gets some wins, then we can hopefully breathe better, right? I want to be able to go and for us to watch a game and be like, okay, now we're cooking. Now Man United is cooking, right? That's what we want to see, man. Guys, listen, I appreciate you all being here. It's 2,000, almost 3,000 of you all in here. Smash that like, everybody. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm your boy Luther. I appreciate you all being here. Take care. I will talk to you in the next one. Peace out.